Hi everybody, it's Sharon here from Mumsy Warrior, and the date is the 18th of November 2021. Today I'm going to talk about vaping and why I'm not very happy about the promotion of it in the UK. Where shall I start? Well, why are governments allowing vapes promotion to children? Santa vapes, really? Both my daughter and I have been in hospital with asthma in the past, and asthma is lung related like the pandemic. It is scary when you can't breathe. I've had asthma for 48 years, and it was really scary as a child, fighting to breathe and everything. Was something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to share with you the blog that I've created in the description. So I'll put a link there so you can see all the videos. There's lots of videos there to do with, the smoking promotion and vaping and how bad it is for you. But the thing is, it's all very well for governments to promote vaping and believe that it's going to help people give up cigarettes, etc. What the government does not see are the amount of teenagers vaping in our little small village. We have a vaping shop in our village, and, my daughter and I, we go out walking a lot with our dog, etc. And even a teenager across the road vaping, we can inhale that muck. We don't want to inhale that muck. We value our lungs and treasure them and believe it's our human right to breathe clean, fresh air. So when a teenager's across the road vaping and we're having to inhale that horrible toxic substance, that's really selfish and unfair. And the same with somebody in front of you. Like I've had 3 teenagers in front of me vaping, and the stuff that's blowing in my face is absolutely diabolical. I don't want that. And I'm sure a lot of people, like with cystic fibrosis, asthma, other lung problems, will feel the same, especially if they take care of their lungs. I read from my blog. It may not be exact, so just bear with me. Before I begin, I want to tell everyone how much I value my lungs, and so does my 18-year-old daughter. We have both been in hospital in the past with asthma, fighting to breathe. It is like having a plastic bag forced over your head and someone stopping you from gasping for air. It is very, very frightening indeed. Watching my daughter fight to breathe as a child was very scary, because I knew exactly what she was going through and how your lungs hurt. Thankfully, my daughter's asthma is a lot better now, all thanks to change of diet. She only needs the inhaler, but she goes jogging, which is usually 3 times a week. As for me, I am very proud to say I am totally drug, phlegm and asthma free. My MP even kindly wrote to the Welsh Health Minister about the way I cured asthma with Japanese knotweed and organic fruit and vegetables. I thought this would be of interest to the government, as asthma is lung related like the current coronavirus can be. Pandemic 2020 to 2021. As a child, I nearly died from asthma a few times. Personally, I am shocked and horrified at the lack of interest by doctors and governments, apart from my MP, with regards to me not needing any drugs anymore to breathe. I admire my family and don't blame them one little bit for smoking. It is not their fault. Doctors, the media and governments promoted smoking as harmless and totally brainwashed them into a serious addiction. Smoking became a family tradition when I was growing up. I remember very clearly laying on the sofa many times as a child, fighting to breathe in a room full of cigarette smoke, and then having to be driven to the hospital because I just could not breathe. Sometimes I would cry because I was in so much pain. My lungs hurt so bad. So I'm writing this blog so no child has to inhale second-hand vaping or tobacco fumes. Please let these children breathe clean air. It is their human right. Because I know what it's like not to be able to breathe in the past, it breaks my heart to hear both my mother and blood father fight for breath when I speak to them on the phone. Dad gave up smoking 40 years ago, but the doctors still thought he was smoking because his lungs have not healed in all that time. That's 40 years ago, 40. It is as if he is still smoking full time. He cannot even walk round the corner shop without having to stop to breathe. Not only that, but he has long-term COVID. My father blames his smoking addiction on having COVID. He knows he destroyed his lungs and wished he had never smoked. Mum is having to take an inhaler now, as is Dad, both on drugs to help them breathe. How my mother would love to give up smoking, but the addiction is too strong. She has tried to give up for years and failed. Since the pandemic started, a vaping shop opened up in our village. My daughter and I are totally shocked about this. Very upsetting, especially when we have a pandemic that hits the lungs. It is totally insane. Having to inhale second-hand vaping fumes from teenagers in front of us on the path or even across the road makes our blood boil. They clearly are very badly educated. Melody, my daughter, and I really do value our lungs and just want to breathe clean air with no toxins. Is that too much to ask? I know by watching my family just how addictive smoking is. I'm not here to judge anyone, just to share our story. Think twice before killing your lungs, because fighting to breathe is the most scary experience you will ever endure. But watching someone else you love suffer, fighting to breathe, is 10 times worse. Remember the sweet cigarettes? Because I do as a child. These people have no morals or values, and they simply do not care about children. That is why they are targeting children with their sweet vapes. They should be put in prison. Please watch this video about how governments, doctors and the media promoted smoking. I hope the above helps you protect your family from being brainwashed into something they will clearly regret later on. Health is wealth. So I've got a video on my blog which is about the smoking promotion by governments, doctors and the media. Please do watch and share this. If I were in government, I would stop funding junk food chains like McDonald's and start funding local organic fruit and veg farmers. Taxpayers' money makes McDonald's cheap. If governments stopped wasting taxpayers' money on funding junk foods like McDonald's and actually invested in organic farmers, fruit and veg farmers, we'd see a huge improvement in health, and it would be more affordable for people to buy organically because pesticides destroy the lungs, which I found out myself. I've complained about junk foods in hospitals in the UK. How the heck do they expect people to get better is beyond me when they're feeding them all the wrong greasy foods. But I guess this is a problem. People make a living from sick people. My cousin Paul died from cystic fibrosis when he was only 20 years old. 20 years old. What a waste of a life. The saddest thing for me is that he wasn't able to breathe in clean air. His father was a chain smoker and smoked in the house, and it didn't seem to bother him that his son just was, fighting for air and just couldn't breathe. Cystic fibrosis is such a serious lung condition. A lot of people die young, which is very sad indeed. that some people manage to live to their 50s or even longer. But, you know, I remember very clearly being in the car with my uncle, my cousin's father, and him chain smoking one after the other. The addiction was just too much for him. He couldn't stop. God bless you, Paul. How awful that governments, doctors and the media promoted smoking and did not give you the right to breathe clean air. I wrote a song called Jodie Fight to Breathe for my cousin's daughter and others like her who suffer from cystic fibrosis. This is on my blog. I'm sort of in two minds now because I used to fund cystic fibrosis and raise money for them, but I feel that they're letting people down personally in the UK, because overseas they've actually acknowledged that yes, plants can heal your lungs, but here they're still promoting bad foods to people that are ill. They're not getting the doctor's advice they should be getting to have good lung health. Attached a link, www.cff.org, a community post, how I went vegan CF. So that's from a lady that's got cystic fibrosis who actually helped heal her lungs. So that's really worth reading. Pesticides used near our garden gave me a serious asthma attack back in spring 2019. Now, I was actually not ordering any inhalers for about 2.5 years when I was using my own raw, organic Japanese knotweed and making my smoothies. But when pesticides were used near our garden, and it's not my new neighbour's fault, it's, you know, the banks, the media, etc. that promote it. But I will say, I think there's a Daily Mail did do an article about how Japanese knotweed has been used to treat Lyme disease, and they say it's a very good natural antibiotic. I've added a link about how pesticides destroy the lungs on my blog, so please check that out. Personally, I would like a written apology for the promotion of smoking by doctors, governments and the media, and there is no way on earth they should be allowed to get away with promoting vaping. My daughter and I refuse to inhale that toxic vaping muck on public transport or in restaurants or in public areas. It is just wrong, especially as we have not seen our family for over 2 years now. If people want to vape, that is their life and their choice, but we have a right too. It is a God-given right to be able to breathe clean air without smoking fumes or vaping fumes of any sorts. Before I changed my diet, and this is all thanks to a friend that I met years ago who is an ex-nurse, she said to me, Sharon, I'm really concerned about your health, because I was in very bad health back then. And she wanted to help me get better. She sort of advised me that I'd do some sort of breathing exercises, etc. But I saw how healthy she was compared to me. And I noticed that she didn't have any junk foods in her house. And she bought organic fruit and veg. And she was just very, very healthy. And she was older than me. So I thought, oh, this must be something in the diet. So I researched it. I changed my diet. And lo and behold, I cured my asthma. And I added Japanese knotweed to my diet as well, which I found out that I had in my garden later on. We were badly missold years ago in our garden and the house. Floods, damp, blocked off stream we didn't know about. The Japanese knotweed we didn't know about. They'd cut it down, burnt it. Even the estate agent didn't know anything about it. We got taken for a ride. But, you know, I've turned this into a positive because Japanese knotweed is now my friend, and I love it because it's helped cure my lung problem. I put it in my daily smoothie and I'm asthma, drug and phlegm free. You know, I keep a health diary and I log what I eat, drink every day, and I check my peak flow, my lung health every day. And today I had the peak flow of 370. I am so excited about that because that's the highest I've ever had being an asthmatic off inhalers. So exciting times, and I can't wait to see if I can really improve that and get in the Guinness Book of Records with strong lung health as a ex-asthmatic. Wouldn't that be something? I'd love to work with doctors. I want the brick walls to come down and for doctors to talk to me and for us to do health experiments to encourage people to keep health diaries, which I do. I log what I eat, drink every day in my health diary. My bowel movements, that is so important. That tells you how healthy you are. Exercise, my peak flow. I check my peak flow, my lung health every day. So, these are things we should be doing with a lot of patients to check how healthy they are and if they can just improve their diet by adding more fruit and veg and, trying to grow organically and see how they get on. I mean, this is something we should really be promoting here in the UK and overseas. Before I changed my diet, I was very overweight. I got to my late 40s and I put on a lot of weight. And I was falling over in the road because I had to go on a strong inhaler. I'd worked in a school when my business got attacked by evil British elites. So I had to stop trading and I took a low-paid job in a school canteen. And my asthma really went downhill then because the canteen was very run down. The asbestos on the roof leaked, and that leaked into my pudding, which I ate. And I was in a terrible state. I was off sick. They ended up having to put fans in the building to circulate the air because of the damp. I mean, we used to walk into the canteen, there'd be damp floor, like be saturated from the condensation on the floor. So it was no wonder I was so bad with asthma when I was working there. And from eating the school dinners, and I hate to say this, but, I loved them, but they didn't do me any favours because I just put on so much weight when I was working in the school. And, I was just so unhealthy. So before I changed my diet, I was actually falling over in the road with shooting pains in my legs from the drugs I was taking. For asthma, and my daughter remembers me falling over in the road because I just couldn't stand. The pain in my legs was so bad. All my bones creak from taking drugs for asthma, and I'm determined to heal myself naturally with organic plants like I did with asthma. I spoke to my friend who's an ex-nurse about vaping, and she said, your lungs are for breathing. They're not for inhaling toxic substances that destroy your health. It's as simple as that. So you can't promote something that you're just not meant to do naturally. I put a link on my blog about bones, n.h.gov. It's about osteoporosis and how inhalers can harm your bones. I mean, my bones, I'm only 55 and every single bone in my body creaks, and I can even feel my neck creaking, and when I twist my neck I can feel bones, and when I shake my nose and screw my nose up, etc., I can feel the bones creaking in my nose. So there's something not right in some of these drugs, and that's why I don't want to take any more drugs. I'm drug free now, and I just want to stay drug free and see how healthy I can get with just natural plants. And that's all I ask, and I feel that that should be allowed for me to do, to carry out this health experiment. I totally get that people are scared about COVID and they want everybody to have the vaccine, etc. But we have to take responsibility for our own health. Even my MP supports me on this. You can't smoke, vape, eat loads of junk foods, etc., and expect to be healthy, because it just doesn't work that way. From keeping a health diary for many, many years, I know for a fact that, just by changing my diet, I cured my health problems. I am far from perfect. I really am not. I hate cooking, so if I'm offered a pizza or something like that, it's very difficult to turn it down. And the ice cream, I love ice cream, but I really want to try and somehow raise some money to get an ice cream maker, a really good one, and try and experiment with making healthy ice creams and get off this awful, destructive junk food addiction, because it's just so bad and damaging. I just want to be a better mum for my daughter. I changed my diet for my daughter, and I need to get back on the road to real health and just try and create as many healthy, recipes as possible so she can be as healthy as possible too. I would never say don't take your inhaler to anybody. If I was fighting to breathe, I would most certainly take the inhaler. My daughter takes the inhaler, but thankfully her asthma health is so much better to what it was. She hasn't been in hospital for years, so it's wonderful to see her healthy, and I just want to try and improve her health more and more and get her to the stage where I am, where I don't have the phlegm in my lungs, I don't have the runny nose anymore. If I can get her to that stage, I will be so overjoyed. I can't explain it. It would be lovely to see her just being able to breathe properly without the runny nose and the allergies, etc., because I hate to see her suffer. I really want to do all I can to improve her health, and I think as a mother, that's my job, that's my role model, and that is why I changed my diet. Not for me, I did it for my daughter because I love her so much, and I just want to be around for as long as possible, and not be a burden on her. I don't want to be a burden, a health burden. So just wish me luck. Share my video, wish me luck, and help me to grow organically. Come over to my gardening foraging club and say hello and share some organic seeds and trade some plants, and let's get planting. Because I believe that we deserve a better life, a happier life, and a healthier life, because health is wealth. That's all from me, Sharon, from Mumsy Warrior. Please do leave comments. I'd love to hear your health stories. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.